Hello, and welcome to The Great Beyond, the Is This Good companion pod, where we'll follow up on last week's episode, answer listener questions, and catch up with each other. So, hi JD, how are you? Welcome to The Great Beyond, the first mini-sode.
The mini-sode. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Very excited to do some follow-up.
What do you think about the term mini-sode?
I think... I don't really understand it. So what do we say? What's a mini-sode? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a time limit in mind, but short. Yeah, like 30 minutes or less, for sure.
Okay.
But as a word, would you write it mini-sode? That's kind of how I've seen it when on other people's podcasts. What about calling it like a half pint?
Okay. You've never seen me order a half pint ever, but sure.
I'm not so sure that that's true.
Yeah, I definitely.
You definitely have.
Actually.
You definitely have when you know you shouldn't be drinking anymore, and then you're about to leave, and you go like, oh, okay. Well, it's just a cute little half pint. So the reason that we're doing this is that we released the show on Monday. The Is This Good? The full show, the non-mini-sode, the full-sode, if you will, on Monday. And then over the course of that week, before we release the next one, like sometimes you'll have a thought or I'll have a thought about something we forgot to say or something that a topic sparked in our mind. Or more importantly, we'll get YouTube comments or Twitter DMs, people commenting on the show or how they would answer those questions. And then by the time the next episode comes around, it feels weird to bring up those questions and comments and thoughts because the next guest hasn't heard the last show.
Right.
And it's like a lot of explanation and then the guest is sort of there like, why did you have me on to talk about something that I didn't hear and my time is very valuable, so please stop. So basically there was nothing to do with these questions and comments. So we figured, why don't we do this mini-sode, this half pint, and we can get all that stuff out there.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, well, first question, did anything good happen to you this week?
I was struggling to think of something, but something good is going to happen. It's my youngest son's, Jackson's, birthday tomorrow, so that's
cute.
Good.
How old?
He's 15. He's going to be 15.
Oh, my God. These kids are giant.
Yeah.
How tall is he right now?
He is not quite as tall as I am, so he's just under... I'm around 6 foot, just under 6 foot, so I'd say he's about 5'10".
Oh, that's not big. So is Lincoln taller than
Lincoln is 6'2" right now.
Lincoln's 6'2", okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
and he
insane.
is he's going to turn 17 this year, so yeah.
So what are you doing for his birthday? You taking him to the Rippers, knowing you?
I mean... I would if I could, but
unfortunately, there's laws.
There's laws, and also
and
he has
the judgment of society.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not taking him to the Rippers, but it's hard to get out of them at this age what they want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we go bowling? I was thinking maybe taking him to Top Golf, but he has shown no interest in golf whatsoever.
Good, you raised him right.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It's what people do. I don't know. So anyways, there's paintball, but also, I don't know.
All right. So it sounds like you're staying home and ordering pizza?
Probably.
Okay, cool. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jackson. I mean, 16's the big one, right?
16's a biggie, yeah.
Do they get their learner's permits at 16 in Georgia?
They get it at 15.
Oh, okay. So this is a big year. This is a big year for him.
Big.
Something not good happened to me this week.
No.
And this just happened to me, so this is like fresh in my mind. I haven't processed it yet. This is going to come out in like a big vomit, but it does require some backstory. I'm not really sure if I should be telling this story, but anyways, what the hell else are we going to do on this show? Very little prepared. So, okay, here's what you need to know for this to make sense. I went to summer camp, like sleepaway summer camp, the same one for a bunch of years, ending, I think, in 97 or 98. So this is like 25 years ago plus. And, we kind of all kept in touch after, but like 25 years, I lost track of basically all of them.
Right.
And certainly have not seen any of them.
And this is a nice camp, too. Like, this was in the States, right?
Yeah, this was in Maine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, it's gotten super fancy since. I know my sister went back and was like an administrator there.
Oh.
And it's gotten like very fancy. It wasn't like the bunks didn't have. I guess did they have electricity? Like they had one little light in them.
Yeah. Okay.
You still had to read with your flashlight under the covers.
Right. Okay. So it's camp like.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like camp like. But I'm just saying because we weren't intense. I think some camps was it intense? Oh yeah, but it wasn't intense. Anyway, that's the least important part of the story.
Okay.
So 25 years pass, and I moved to LA like 3 years ago, and I find out that someone I went to summer camp with lives out here in LA. He's not from here, but he lives here now. So I reach out to him, and we end up getting together. And I meet his wife. He meets my girlfriend. It's lovely. Let's call him Frank.
Okay.
For the sake of this, so it doesn't.
Frank the camper.
Frank the bunkmate.
Now you have not seen this Frank.
Yeah.
Since camp, like you said goodbye, the tearful goodbye, as the buses pull away or whatever, and you have not seen this man for literally 25 years.
So I had seen him once, like maybe 15, 16 years ago. There was some kind of reunion in New York, and I was there, and we met up there. But it was like one or 2 hours. So yeah, in the last 25 years, I've seen him for like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
So then after we have that meeting, Frank tells me, "Hey, I just actually found out that another guy that we went to camp with also lives in LA. Let's call him Gideon." And so Gideon lives here, and he's like, "We should go out with Gideon." So I say, fine. We go to dinner. This is maybe a few months ago now. And then Frank is about to have a baby. So he's like, "Hey, guys, it was great catching up with you, but I'm about to have this kid, and I know I'm not going to have time to really see any of you guys. So if you want to have kind of one last dinner before, we have the kid, let me know." So I say, sure. Here's a bunch of dates that I think would work, like given your timeline. Like, you don't want to do it at the week of.
Right.
And Gideon writes back, and he's like, none of those dates work for me. So we're like, okay, how about... So we keep going later and later towards when the birth is happening.
Right.
But we agree, and then Gideon says, Gideon's a music producer. So Gideon says, "I'm going to be in the studio that day." He's going to be in the stew. JD, you know what it's like to be in the stew. Unpredictable. So he says, the hours are unpredictable. Can we do it a bit later? So we say, okay. So he says, how about 8 p.m.? Sure, fine. And then he says, just to make sure I can get there on time, can we do it at this place? It's not far from the studio. Again, we say, sure. Even though for Frank, he's coming all the way across town.
Yeah.
Happens to be close to me, but Frank's coming all the way across town.
Yeah.
So we make these plans like 2 weeks ago. Nothing is said in the group chat. And then the morning of, so this is yesterday morning, 8 a.m., Frank sends out a text, "Hey, just double checking everything's cool for tonight."
Oh my God.
I write back, I say, "Yeah, absolutely, see you tonight." Gideon says nothing.
Gideon.
The day goes on, and Frank texts me directly and says, "Hey, I'm not sure if Gideon's coming or not, but just so you know, like, I'm still down to go no matter what." I say, "Yeah, sure, no matter what, I'll meet you at the restaurant."
Okay.
So I show up, just Frank sitting there. I sit down, I'm like, "Is Gideon coming?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "So he didn't reach out to you?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "So he just gonna like walk in?" But again, it's 8, it's 8:05, it's 8:10, it's 8:15. We realize Gideon ain't coming. Gideon didn't say like, "Oh, sorry, running late," or "Sorry, I have to cancel." Nothing. So we have a lovely dinner.
Yeah.
And I wake up this morning expecting there to be a text from Gideon being like, "Oh my God, so sorry." But like he can't say he forgot because the text was sent that morning.
Right.
So he had to have seen the text and just didn't respond. Anyway, so I go on Gideon's Instagram because I follow him now, and I see, a picture of him in the studio. I'm like, he's not lying. He's in the studio.
Right.
But then I look closer and I see he's tagged the studio that he's in, and it's just the studio's in New York. What's going on here? But the most important thing is fine. So I don't know. Maybe he had a session in New York, but like, why wouldn't you tell us? And if you forgot before, you had a text. You're in a studio. I know your phone's plugged in all day. There's outlets. I know the soundproofing is not so good in the studio that cell signals don't penetrate the wall baffling.
Right.
Anyways, there's no end to the story yet, but I'm like, I have like an itchy text finger right now to confront him, or at least to like be like, yeah, guess your phone ran out of batteries, or I don't know. What would you do? I don't know this person well, so I will say something. I got nothing to lose in this situation.
So you and Frank are good. And Gideon, what was the relationship like back in camp? Was he kind of a flake back then, or?
No, I mean, I don't know. At 15, can you be a flake? I guess so, but
it's just very.
I didn't
odd.
know. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't say we were close.
Yeah,
but still, the weird thing is that Frank and Gideon have somewhat kept in touch this whole time, but because they both lived in New York for a while, so he's seen Gideon many, many times in the past 25 years. So they have a much tighter relationship than me and Gideon.
Interesting.
Anyways.
Is it possible that he thought that you guys were in New York and
we saw him in LA. We all talked about how we live in LA now. I don't think he got confused.
So you had seen Gideon in LA?
Yeah. We went for dinner.
Right. Okay.
Went for dinner.
Wow, ghosted by Gideon. This is not good.
Ghosted by Gideon.
This is not good. Confront him. What have you got to lose? Who cares?
Yeah, I think I'm going to.
I mean, you're going to lose Frank anyway to the baby for at least a year.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to make things awkward for him, necessarily.
Well, if anyone has an idea of what I should do, what I should text Gideon, let me know. That's what we're doing on the show. We're telling stories that have a beginning, hopefully a middle, no end.
We can follow up next week.
It's a real cliffhanger. Yeah, we'll follow up next week. I'll tell you what I sent to old Gideon. So quick bit of housekeeping. Send me emails at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. We could always use emails. Seriously, I read them all. I respond to them all. I have a little bit of a backlog I got to get through today when this is done. But send in emails because they are super helpful for the show. Subscribe on YouTube and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Should I check Apple Podcasts right now as we're talking, JD? I haven't seen anything recently.
I have never checked, actually.
Okay, fill time. Tap dance while I look up the show.
Okay, well, you're looking up Apple Podcast reviews. I will encourage any Survivor fans out there to go check out No Buffs because we just recorded a banger of an episode. It's in its own feed. It's No Buffs. Just search for it on your Apple or your podcatcher of choice, and it is also on YouTube. I am done tap dancing.
Yeah, okay, good. I got it.
Okay, great.
Okay,
great.
We have some recent ones.
Oh, great.
The last one is from King Josias. 5 stars. Delightful weekly watch, listen with great guests and a bit of everything for any types of listeners out there. Add some good to your existence by making this part of your regular podcast listening rotation. Okay. Anyways, we could use more of those. Yes. And then, of course, join our Patreon. When you sign up, you'll get the full show with bonus segments plus fun extras. Like this week, I don't know if you saw it, JD. I posted a video of me singing very loudly at a Garth Brooks concert because on this week's episode with Alex Wong, we talked about when people in the crowd sing louder than the person singing, and is that rude and does it ruin people's experience? And my girlfriend was listening, and she was like, you were poo-pooing this, but yet you sent me this video of you singing The Dance at a Garth Brooks concert, and all you can hear is me singing along. But of course, as an audio technician, JD, you know that's because my mouth is right in front of the microphone.
That's right.
And it was a stadium. Garth was far away.
Right, and the iPhone is actually, it's very good at discerning, or it is usually pretty good at discerning what you're supposed to be hearing. It's assuming that since you're holding the phone in front of your face and you're belting out Friends in Low Places or whatever. What was the song?
It was The Dance. It's like it's his big sort of ballad.
Right, and you were giving it.
Yeah,
like
honestly, I was like, okay, I have to post this now to shame myself. But then at the same time, I was like, I'm not off key. I don't sound terrible.
You sound pretty good.
I sound pretty good.
But listen, this is why you do not need to record a performance on your phone at a concert, because this is the kind of audio you're going to get.
Yeah, good. If you want to remember what you sounded like at the concert.
That's fair. That's fair. If you want to record yourself singing along with Garth Brooks, by all means, record yourself. But you couldn't even see Garth Brooks in that video.
Well, you could. It was a theater in the round, a stadium in the round. But it's like I'm so dumb that when I'm holding the phone, even though it's right in front of my mouth, the camera is facing the stage. So I'm looking at Garth Brooks, listening to Garth Brooks. I don't even know I'm singing along. Like, you know what I mean? Because if the camera was reversed and I was selfieing, like, wanted to send my girlfriend, like, look how much fun I'm having.
Right.
But it wasn't even that. Anyway, so go to patreon.com/isthisgood to see me sing at a Garth Brooks concert. And I do want to point out our next live stream hangout is Tuesday, April 25th at 8:30 Eastern. So sign up before then if you want to be part of that. Basically, we all get on a Zoom together. We could see your faces. You can ask us questions. We shoot the shit together. It was super fun last time. So we're looking forward to doing it again.
And you don't have to show your face.
No, a lot of people did not want to.
That's perfectly okay.
I thought the cutest part of it was when we said, all right, well, like, that's about an hour. We're going to sign off now. And then, like, people just started, like, clicking on and just, like, smiling and just showing their face in the final, like, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Finally gaining up the courage to see them smiling in their, guest rooms.
Yeah, exactly. But our instinct was to go, oh, hey, Danny.
Yeah, they were like,
he just revealed himself. He's like, no, I don't want to talk. I just wanted to say bye.
Show my face. All right, so let's get to the follow-up that we were promising. This week's show, as I said, was with Alex Wong. We did a settle this question about whether it was appropriate to twerk at a Taylor Swift concert, because there was a very stupid controversy where someone on TikTok filmed someone on Taylor Swift's New Eras tour. They were twerking to a song, and they posted it, and people were like, Taylor Swift doesn't make music they need to twerk to. There were kids there. This is inappropriate.
I will say that it was, looking back at it, she was grinding up against him. It was a little.
Is.
I know, but it was a little lascivious.
It was a little lascivious.
I would say.
Okay.
I would say I was not offended by it, and I would, I'm definitely on the side of, hey, you paid the ticket, twerk all you want.
The guy who wants to take his 15-year-old to a strip club, if there weren't laws that prevent him from doing so, is offended by fully clothed people rubbing butts.
That's right.
Okay. Anyways, so we did that question on the show, and then I get a DM from my friend, your friend Brody. Who is Brody? A friend of mine. I met him through J.E. Skeets. He's very close with Skeets. They went to high school together. They've been friends forever. So I just get a DM from Brody after the show releases, and it just says, I got kicked out of a Taylor Swift concert for breakdancing, and I never forgave her. So, of course, I DM back. I'm like, what are you talking about? I need to hear this full story. I actually asked him to come on the show, but unfortunately he's traveling right now. He's on vacation with his very young son and his wife. And anyways, he didn't have his computer with him, so he couldn't come on the show. But just before finally I was trying to get in touch with him, just before we stepped on, I got a call from him. So I can tell the story. You stop me if you have any questions. Hopefully I can answer them.
I will. Before you start, I will say that I just offhanded mentioned this to Skeets before, like, we were recording just now. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, yeah, we're going to do a follow-up show. Apparently Brody got kicked out of a Taylor Swift concert for breakdancing, and it didn't compute. Like, it was like, who? Brody? My Brody? I'm like, I think so. And then it was one of those moments where I was like, did I dream that? Was I high? Or like, am I making this up here?
It happened.
Yeah, apparently it happened. And so that's why I texted you and was like, just for confirmation, this is what we're talking about, right? And yes, indeed. So let's hear the story.
Okay, so this was on the Reputation tour. So Brody and Sarah, his wife, they're huge Swifties. And they have this other friend, Laura, and I'm not sure I heard this part exactly, but basically Laura had some connection to Ticketmaster, and they got, like, gifted 3 tickets. Okay. So for free. And
that's a big deal, because apparently these tickets are...
Oh, they were like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And Brody specifically pointed out to me that when Brody, Sarah, and Laura, they get crazy together when they get together, because they don't get to hang out as much. Okay. And so they're pre-drinking, and you're going to be disgusted by this part. For the pre-drink, Brody said he had canned Caesars. Okay. So Caesar is like basically a Bloody Mary, but Canadian.
Yeah.
And he was juicing them with extra vodka. So he said we all were having triple Caesars. Okay, so obviously they were super drunk. They get to the show, and the ushers are pointing them towards their seats, and they're getting like closer and closer and closer, and they realize not only are they on the floor, but there's one of these stages where it like juts out so Taylor can kind of walk out amongst the crowd. And they are right up against this thing. Like Brody was like, Taylor Swift was sweating on us. And they could like touch the stage. So they were like, obviously, they're huge Swifties. They're with their friend Laura, who they don't see a lot. They're drunk. They have the most amazing seats, and they're free. So you get like, spirits are high.
Yeah.
Then at the tip of the stage where they are, there's those like long aisles that they do for security that go basically from the stage to kind of the soundboard. So it stretches it's at an arena. It's the entire length of the arena.
Okay.
So they're right on the aisle, right next to the stage. Again, super excited. And Brody took great pains to point out, it's the three of us, we're drunk, but all around us are just moms and tiny children and young teenagers. Okay.
Right.
That's the demo.
Like preteens, we're talking.
Yeah. So they're already getting dirty looks just by being loud and boisterous and probably a bit sloppy.
Right.
So it's under these circumstances that Taylor comes on. Taylor's killing it, obviously. And because they're right next to this aisle, suddenly they find they don't have enough space to dance, to do their moves just in their seats. So Laura and Brody move into the aisle and start dancing there. And of course, very quickly, a security guard comes up and is like, no, you can't do that. So they go back to their seats. But then another song comes on, and they cannot stop their feet. And again, they're moving out into the aisle. They're dancing into the aisle. The security guard comes and says, hey, I'm not asking you again. Get back in your seats. And then Laura decides to be a little prankster. And at some point, she pushes Brody into the aisle.
Oh, my God.
And once out there, again, the Caesars have kicked in here. Brody just starts breakdancing in the aisle. And
okay, when you say breakdancing, what are we talking? Like, we talking moonwalking? We talking the worm? Like...
Exactly. He's like, I'm doing the moonwalk. I'm doing the worm. I'm doing the robot. I'm twerking. And so at this point on the phone call, I go, wait, I don't understand. Can you breakdance, Brody? Pause. Absolutely not. He's like, sometimes when I get drunk, I think I can break dance, and it's like awesome because I'm really giving it and everyone's cheering me on, and then I wake up the next morning and realize that they were probably just laughing at me. Right. No, Brody cannot break dance. He's just, again, doing the robot.
Yeah.
And immediately he says 4 security guards come, grab his arms, and start pushing him down the entire aisle that stretches the whole arena, right?
Oh my God.
So they're like basically perp walking him down. Everyone's staring at him. And he says, so everyone's staring at me, and I suddenly, for some reason, I think this is my moment, and I'm still like, as much as I can, moving my hands through their arms, like nodding my head, and I'm dancing all the way down the aisle. They throw him in some kind of like special security elevator, and then just boom, the doors open, and they like DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince style, like just throw him onto the street. And he's drunk, so he's like pulling on the door, and he's like, then it hits him. He's like, I just got kicked out of the Taylor Swift concert. So he texts Sarah and Lord. He's like, hey guys, I got kicked out. I can't get back in. You guys stay if you want. And then textbook like, yeah, of course we're gonna stay. We didn't get kicked out. These are amazing seats. So Brody realizes that he can't get back in. He calls an Uber, and in the Uber, again, he's super hammered. He takes out his phone and DMs Taylor Swift and says, he says, I'm very upset with you.
Oh my God.
Explains what happened. Of course, she never responds. And then the pièce de résistance, the cherry on the sundae, is he gets home, puts his hand in his pocket, realizes he doesn't have the keys. Sarah has the keys in her purse. Curls up on the porch like a cat and goes to sleep, to be woken up 3 hours later by like a boisterous Sarah being like, that was the greatest night ever. Anyways, he's still upset about it. He said he would love to go again, and he hopes that us talking about this on the show could maybe, gain a groundswell of support. It could make its way to Taylor.
And start a GoFundMe to send him back.
Yeah, or she could invite him to the Eras Tour. I don't know if she's playing Toronto. I would assume. Though I guess she's playing the stadium this time. So there'll be more seats that Brody could go to.
Well, to be fair to those twerkers, they were in their seats, right?
They were in fact, they were in one seat.
That's right.
They were only taking up one seat.
That's exactly right.
Anyways, I think probably very valid that he got kicked out, because that aisle is for security. Like if someone passes out, they want to be able to get a stretcher or whatever through and keep that clear. I don't think T-Swift comes down into the aisle as maybe the boss would, but still, I think this is a valid getting kicked out.
And it seemed like 3 strikes, right? It was
that's a great point. It wasn't like he was just twerking in his seat and they kicked him out. He truly had it coming. So sorry, Brody. We're not on your side on this one, but it's a great story, and we salute you for wilding out at a Taylor Swift concert like that. We also talked about if it was appropriate to scream loudly at a concert, because this was another TikTok video of someone screaming. At first, we were like, no, this is totally fine. Of course you're going to scream at a concert. Then we heard the scream. We were like, okay, this is this is crossing a line.
Right.
Jeremy Kai on YouTube said, we were also somehow talking about the Beatles playing Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, because I was mentioning that screaming is what stopped the Beatles from playing live. But do you remember why are we talking about specifically the show at Maple Leaf Garden?
Oh, I brought it. You said that one time the Beatles were drowned out by the audience, and I thought that it had happened at Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh, okay. So that's what Jeremy Kai left a YouTube comment confirming. He said, my dad and uncle were at the Beatles show at Maple Leaf Gardens. Their parents dropped them off and went to the Carlton Cinema, which is 2 doors down, and they said the concert was so loud they couldn't hear the movie. I find that to be a little shocking. I used to live next to the Carlton Cinema in Toronto.
Yeah.
So there was a whole building between Maple Leaf Gardens and the cinema. I don't know.
You're not buying it.
Doesn't pass the smell test for me.
Really?
Yeah, but I did ask Jeremy if his dad and uncle saw you there, because
I saw that. I LOL'd.
I was thinking.
So you don't think you think? I think that it's very possible, especially at that frequency. It's mostly girls literally screaming, Jamie Lee Curtis style, their heads off, right, for an extended period of time. Yeah, and we're also talking mid-60s, so the sound. It's not like you're in Dolby surround sound in a movie theater. I mean, the soundtracks were literally.
There's no sound in the movies.
You couldn't hear the piano player.
the piano forte was not so forte that night. I was thinking okay, so this show that we were joking about, that you were sold that you were at this Beatles show at Maple Leaf Gardens. Is the Beatles a show, if you I get the question, any show that happened before you were alive, that you could go to? Somehow I was thinking I love the Beatles, but the Beatles would not be my choice for a concert that I would go to.
Definitely,
because there weren't especially in the earlier years, they weren't a great live band in the sense of they were just playing these 3-minute pop songs, perfect pop songs to be sure, but it wasn't like they were airing it out or changing things up really in concert.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. They again, the screaming would be too much, but also, you're 100% right. I mean, I think they stopped. Did they stop touring around Revolver? And the White Album, they were definitely stopped and Get Back, they were and all that.
In India by then, but I think I don't know. It's always a trivia question. I think their last concert was at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. I want to say.
Really?
Or is that San
what
Diego?
Year? I think San Francisco is Candlestick.
I'm not sure. I will say, watching the Get Back documentary, where they're playing the famous concert on the top of
on the roof.
On the roof of Abbey Road. That looks cool. If they were touring in that era, their songs were grittier, and they were the soloing was cooler, and they were looser in general.
Yeah.
If they had toured then, that I would have for sure have enjoyed seeing that.
Totally. Yeah.
because I was also thinking about how I never saw Oasis. Now, take aside from the fact that you hate Oasis, there's been a lot of rumors that they're going to reunite.
Wow.
Because Noel's going through a divorce. People say he needs some money.
Okay.
So I was thinking, like, these tickets, if they tour, will probably be like $500-$600.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and they're also not, sorry to say it, they're not the most exciting live band.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Liam, and there's no mystery. Like, Liam will just say the song they're going to play before they play it. Right. Like, he'll just be like, Supersonic! And then they'll just break into it. Not even like, some people say I go too fast, but when they do, I tell them. And then the song starts, or like, I don't know, like
Supersonic.
Yeah, like so I don't know. I would see maybe like the Dylan Rolling Thunder tour looked cool as hell. I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Led Zeppelin when they were touring for Led Zeppelin 2. That would have been amazing.
You're a big Zepp head.
I love
you. Anytime we needed to do something that wasn't for public consumption, so we could use copyright music, you were slipping the Immigrant Song in there.
Always, man, always.
If you don't hear that, you're like, this sizzle reel has no hype to it.
I was dropping that in stuff years before Taiki Waititi was doing it for Thor.
Yeah, that's right. But, New Zealand hack. All right, and then the last thing we talked about in concert etiquette was if it was okay to sing louder, like I mentioned the Garth Brooks things off the top. Andreas Moll alerted us to a hilarious thing that happened. So he said, speaking of concert etiquette, and I think this is just a copy-paste from an article, it said, this week a performance of the Bodyguard musical in Manchester. That's right, the Bodyguard musical. We can come back to that. If you're wondering, yeah, the Bodyguard is in like the movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. It was forced to end early, and police were called to deal with 2 disruptive audience members. In mobile phone footage shared online, a woman is heard shouting over the top of the hit song I Will Always Love You. Crowds are then seen cheering as the disruptive audience members are removed by security staff. Former Pussycat Dolls star and lead actor Melody Thornton apologized to the fans for the disruption. It is a hilarious video. Maybe we'll put it in the description. Someone is screeching along to I Will Always Love You. It's super funny. I mean, if you go to see a jukebox musical, isn't part of the fun, like, like the
singing along.
The tagline for what's the ABBA musical called?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia is like, we were dancing in the aisles.
Totally. And in fact, I think in some performances of Mamma Mia, they would actually put up the lyrics as like subtitles so people could sing along. It was almost karaoke style.
Yeah. Was that just at the end, like kind of like for a reprise, or was it?
I don't know, actually. I thought I saw it marketed like, this is the sing-along version, so we want you to sing.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there was a second. Like, yeah, they'll do that at theaters too, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like The Sound of Music, sing-along.
Yeah, or Rocky Horror.
That. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
But still, this would be annoying in a theater setting.
Oh, totally. In fact, we never got into it, but musicals, I sat through Cats a couple of years ago, which I fucking hate. Like, it's the worst musical. But there is one good song in Cats, and it's Memories, and it's Touch Me, na 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 na. And then there's a key change and like a crescendo. It's the crescendo climax of the whole show.
I'm picturing Barbra Streisand singing it in my head right now.
Because it's not that Memories.
Barbra Streisand does Memory?
I know, but not the Cats version. It's
The Midnight, Not a Sound from the Pavement?
No.
That's different?
That's different. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. What's yours then?
It's not mine. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber, and it's his. It's na 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 na.
That's what I'm singing.
Na 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 na.
Has the moon lost your memory?
Is that what it is?
Wait, we need to settle this. Settle this is, are we singing the same song?
Are we singing the same song? Anyways, in that song, there's a huge crescendo, and then everybody in the Fox Theater in Atlanta just starts cheering. I mean, it was to the point where I could not hear the note that everybody had come to see that note. Everybody was there to see that song.
Yeah, JD, I'm sure that's what everyone said when they bought the tickets. We're going for this one note. You're an outlier.
No, I'm telling you, everybody in that show was like, what is this show? I know there's a hit in this show. It's coming. The Rum Tum Tugger. Okay, this is sort of familiar, but it's the only show. It's the only hit from the whole show. So we're waiting for it. Everybody's waiting for it. Okay, maybe I'm an outlier, but you're cheering through the best part of the show and you can't hear it. It's just crazy to me.
I'm gonna have to ask you to make a call right now. We're like 30 minutes plus into this thing, okay?
I knew this would happen.
This is going to be a mini-sode. I think it's because, like, it's the first one. Should I go through the rest of the things, or should we just call it here?
No, let's go through the rest of the things, but P-Hounds only here on out. You don't like it?
Okay, I don't know. I'll continue, and we can decide after. Okay, so in the Alex Wong show, we talked about leaving your laptop with someone when you're at a coffee shop. So obviously, we've all been in the situation. You're working at a coffee shop. You got to pee. You don't want to pack up all your shit. So you ask someone to watch it for you, and we were discussing whether that was good or not. And I also brought up the topic, like, let's say I ask you, JD, if you're a stranger, hey, could you watch my laptop? Do I leave it on my table and you watch it from your table? Or do I bring it to you and say, hey, could you watch my laptop? And I was saying, obviously, I would prefer if they just brought it to my table so I don't have to, like, keep anxiously looking over.
You're right.
But at the same time, now I'm worried I would be spilling my coffee on it.
Right.
So, Jeremy Kai, again, great commentary. You had 2 comments making it into this mini-sode, this half pint that's becoming a full pint. So he says, I was once getting into a seat at a coffee shop with some friends and accidentally nudged the table beside me. On it was a full cup of coffee and an unattended Palm Pilot and keyboard combo device. The coffee spilled on the keyboard, but I was the only one who noticed. When the person came back to find her electronics all wet, she asked us if we saw what happened. My friend spoke up and said it was like that when we arrived, which was a statement my friend believed to be true because he did not see. I, on the other hand, said nothing because I was in high school and couldn't afford to replace a Palm Pilot. The woman then spent the next half hour angrily blowing into her keyboard as it was now not working. I felt guilty for months after that. So this is exactly what I'm worried about, and it happened. Shout out to Palm Pilots. Did you ever have one?
No, I could never afford that back then.
I remember my uncle had a Palm Pilot and him showing it to us, and our minds were fucking blown.
Oh, I thought that they were cool as hell.
Oh my god. This is like what, like early 90s?
Oh, I would think later 90s, like after 95, I would think, but I actually don't know.
So this thing was basically like a glorified Filofax. Okay, now we're in the 80s. Okay, the Filofax was
and
basically,
it was an organizer,
which is a glorified calendar,
right? And
it had like a little stylus.
Yeah.
And I think on some of the later models, you could do the thing where you would write it in handwriting, and it would convert it. And I can't tell you how much people's minds were blown by this. Oh, now we have AI that can, like, we can't tell. We're in like a full Spike Jonze her world. But when I was a kid, the Palm Pilot was where it was at.
Yeah.
And of course 100%. The Palm Pilot was killed by the BlackBerry, which was then killed by the iPhone. But anyways, I sort of get Jeremy's point here. Like, he was in high school, it was an accident.
Well, what's his point? That he does he feel bad about not saying something?
Own up.
The woman left her Palm Pilot and a full coffee unattended at a table.
You're saying she was asking for it.
Yeah, I'm saying she was asking for it. It's a Palm Pilot. You can slip it into your purse or something, you know? Like, you're taking your life in your hands, leaving a drink at a table. I mean, I know it's not a nightclub or anything, but I don't know. And it got nudged. I mean, that was bound to happen. So, Jeremy, good on you for not owning up. Can you imagine if he had admitted to it? It would be like, you owe me a Palm Pilot. There would be a huge
Would you though? Like, if that happened to you, so again, we don't know each other. A total accident. I knock the chair, which knocks into your table, which knocks over your coffee, which falls on your Palm Pilot, and I tell you, would you say pay up?
I mean, I wouldn't, but
right. You'd be like, oh, that fucking sucks. It's an accident.
Yeah, but I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay, here's a situation that happened to me, happened to us. We were walking through Six Flags Water Park, and this woman, it was packed, completely packed. And we were going over the bridge of the lazy river. We were just walking around, and Lincoln, I don't know, I want to say he was 9-ish, 8 or 9-ish. And this woman drops her phone, and it skitters across the bridge, and then Lincoln accidentally kicks it, and it goes bloop right into the lazy river. Okay? And then he looks at me, and he goes, whoops. And I was like, keep walking, kid.
Uh-huh.
Because she had dropped the phone.
Did she see him kick it, though?
Yeah. And then, so what happened was, she followed us.
Yeah.
And we sort of found a spot, and then Lincoln and I went to go on a ride. It was, again, packed. So we were gone for like an hour waiting to get on this one slide. While we were gone, the woman confronted Rachel and said, your son kicked my phone into the lazy river, and I'm going to need you to pay for it. Yeah. And it was a big thing, and I had no idea.
Wait, what did Rachel say?
She was like, I'm so sorry that happened. I don't think that we should, it sounds like it was an accident. And she was trying to be very diplomatic. I mean, it was Rachel. But she was definitely, I think that she waited for me to leave.
Oh, okay. Big scary man with big scary beard.
Yeah, confront the wife about it. Anyways, in the end, Rachel was like, look, if you really want me to pay for it, and Rachel's thing is like, this woman, she needs the phone more than we need the money sort of thing. And it was an accident and whatever. And so she agreed to pay. And so basically we said
pay
we
for
would
the whole
meet.
thing?
Well, we would give her some money. I don't know what. I can't remember what.
By the way, aren't these
agreed.
iPhones supposed to be waterproof? Lady, jump in the lazy river.
I mean, we're talking about...
Too lazy to jump in a lazy river?
Okay, but don't get me started, because who brings a fucking iPhone into a water park? We're in a water park.
Also, this is insane. You shouldn't have your phone in the water park. You were the one that dropped it. You were the primary mover
That's
of this
exactly right.
tragedy.
Right.
You shouldn't have had your phone there in the first place. You dropped it. It could have very easily bounced into the thing. Even if it didn't, It's already getting water on it from, the level of water that accumulates everywhere in a water park.
Yeah.
A child, a minor, is walking through no fault of his own, kicks it falls into the river. That is like, if I'm apportioning blame, I'm apportioning 1% or less to Lincoln.
And it's not like he saw it and kicked it. It bounced off his foot. It hit his foot.
Oh, it bounced off his foot?
It would literally just sort of skidded, and then he was just sort of walking, and the motion of his foot just kind of looked like he kicked it, but he didn't actually kick it.
It's not like... Now, if we could put truth serum in Lincoln, get him on the show and say, hey, you kicked that lady's phone into the lazy river, didn't you?
I mean, 50-50, to be honest. But still... and this woman's like, oh, I can't even reach my kids now who are in the park. And I'm like, so
do they all have cell phones?
Exactly.
The kids all have cell phones in their bathing trunks?
Exactly. It was so frustrating. Anyway, we waited. We were going to give this woman some money, but she never showed up. She ghosted us.
Oh, that's really weird. This woman's really real lazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so this woman who had a Palm Pilot and just left it out at a coffee shop, and it gets nudged by a bunch of kids, that is 100% on her. And Jeremy, do not lose another second of sleep about that.
That's right. Go right to sleep.
Yeah.
You're fine.
You are.
Erase that from your memory.
Yes.
All right. So then, going back to last week's episode with Trey Kirby, we talked about him, if you remember. Is it good to call a stranger buddy? Or is it just sort of annoying and condescending? And then when we were talking about it, I brought up, of these sort of things you might call a person you don't know. Chief, buddy, bro, sport, pal, boss. Which is the best one, which is the worst one? We debated that. I heard from a lot of people, a lot of Australians, okay? I think you might know where this is going already. So George A. wrote, listen to the pod this week, and you discussed all the names you can be called, such as buddy, bro, pal, and yet no mate. Mate. I assume this is an Australia, New Zealand thing. It's completely normalized and friendly for us to use it, and we pass it on to you when we travel. Where does this stack up? Is this something that's secretly causing you to be annoyed? And then Jay on YouTube commented and said, very international, but mate is a neutral option of calling someone. Here's what I'm confused about. You spent a lot more time in Australia than I have. I mean, I've actually never spent time in Australia. Mate just means friend. Friend is a synonym for buddy. So how do they do it where it doesn't sound condescending? I mean, first of all, it'd be weird for me to go to a coffee shop and be like, can I get a cappuccino, friend?
Right.
It sounds very like I'm a Christian minister or something.
Right. Yeah. Mate, I think is just it's more in line with y'all or my friend. It's not like friend. It's like my friend. Right.
Oh, so that's sort of a more like Middle Eastern thing. Like,
okay, yeah.
My friend, come.
Right.
Yeah.
Or amigo. Right. Like.
Okay, but you can't say amigo in America.
No, I know, but if you're in Mexico, you might.
Hey,
you
amigo, let me get.
Amigo, let me get a couple of beers from you.
Right,
amigo. Right, like here's your change, amigo.
I would say hermano.
Well, that's sexualized, isn't it? Like that's my
no. Hermano just means brother.
Right, but you're not going to say
you have
that
a brother? Do you do sex with him?
I mean, it's there's a masculine and a feminine.
I see.
But you can say
hermana.
I will answer the question, by the way. No, I do not have sex with my brother.
I noticed you've been quite silent on whether you have sex with your brother. Good-looking man, that Ryan Doyle.
Always a handsome devil, but
devil.
I can't say that I would go there. Anyways, if you say mate, you can say it. I know women who refer to their mates, right? I mean, it is sort of more like a. Actually, I don't know. I definitely have Australian women friends who would refer to their friends as mates, and we're going out with the mates. British also use mate, I believe, but
yeah,
they will also say lads, right? Like they'll say,
I don't want to get
with the lads.
Up the lads.
Yeah. But I like mate a lot. If I could pull it off, I would use it.
I don't think
Cheers,
think
mate.
it's. I think if it's done here, it's going to come out as affected, unless you fake an accent.
Totally. Yeah.
Which that could be fun.
Yeah.
Like imagine I feel so awkward that I saying like buddy or chief or pal or boss that I just put on an Australian accent and start calling people mate.
Well, it's hard. I realized after we had the episode that I say man a lot. I go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Which is that's kind of lame too.
Better though.
It's better. It's better than bro. It's better than bud. But it's not inclusive. That's what I don't like about it.
Yes, very, very true. Okay, let's end on this. The comment of the week. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be a recurring segment, but it's the first one.
I like it.
And there's a great comment. So this person's going to win comment of the week.
Great.
Comment away, and you too could win this prestigious award.
I love it.
Or seriously, just be featured in this podcast, because obviously it's going to rely on people commenting, so we could follow up on the comments.
We love comments.
All right, so bit of explanation here. So on the Trey episode, we did a Settle This question about a guy who's worried that he might be using his office bathroom too much, but it was a Patreon portion of the episode. It was just for the P-Hounds, so I'll explain what the email was. It was very quick. It was one sentence, really. It just said, "Hello, Matt. Can I keep shitting in the office? They are genuine shits I'm doing, but I feel like my colleagues might think I'm shitting a little too much. For context, I shit in the office 2 to 3 times a day." And then he signed it T for confidentiality. Now, he sent me the email, so obviously I knew his first name, I knew his last name, and I saw his little avatar that had a picture of him, so I knew what he looked like.
Trey Kirby sent this in.
No. So, of course, I'm going to just say T when I read it on the show, because he's talking about his office and taking 3 messy dumps in there. So I thought I did a good thing, kept his name confidential. We talked about it. We decided, it's totally fine. Keep shitting as long as they're genuine shits. We really like that term, genuine shits.
I took a genuine shit before jumping on with you here now.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
So we post the episode, and this guy who wants to remain confidential, comments on the YouTube. And when you comment on YouTube, you could see, I mean, you could choose to have a handle, but he does not. He has his first name, he has his last name, and he has the very same picture that was in his Gmail when he sent it to me.
Okay.
He says, "Those were my genuine shits you were discussing. But I am Patreon list." And then he put 3 sad face emojis. Then he replied to his own comment and said, "I'm all Patreoned up now. Some context to add. We have a free cereal bar." So he's telling us why he was taking so many shits, I guess. He's eating a lot of bran. Anyway, I could say his name now because you could see it there on the YouTube if you want to go look.
Don't.
Why?
He might not want you to.
No. You'll see.
Okay.
So his name's Tamir Morgan. So JD, like you, I thought, does this guy not know that when you comment, you could see your full name? Like, does he think this is anon? So I reply to his email and I say, I have to ask, why did you go anonymous on the podcast and then public in the YouTube comments? I said, also, welcome to Patreon. As you may have heard by now, we're pro genuine shits. So Tamir wrote back and he said, and I kind of expected him to write back and be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
He just wrote back, "You guys helped me realize that my fear of genuine shitting was all in my head. So thank you for that. With this newfound genuine shitting confidence, I might up my quota to 5+.
Wow.
So this guy, we gave Tamir confidence enough to go public with his pooping habits.
Damn, that's the best thing I've heard all week.
Yes, if only you had heard that first when I asked you at the start of the show, did anything good happen to you? You could have said, we gave this guy enough confidence to share his name with the world. He came out of the closet, the stall. He came out of the stall.
Loud and proud, with genuine shits. Way to go, Tamir.
Yeah, so that's the comment of the week. One last tiny thing I want to say, because I'll forget by next week. I happened to run into Jackie Tone this week.
Oh, great.
A favorite guest on our show. She was on a couple months ago, maybe a few months ago at this point. And she said, I ran into her like we were walking by each other, so it was a very quick interaction, but she said, hey, people send me all the time PPS poo-poo no, which is from the show. The question was, going to the bathroom while your partner is in the bathroom, is this good? Or in front of your partner, is this good? And her rule was PPS poo-poo no. And it's nice that it lives on the internet.
Right.
It's being forwarded to her. I imagine my people being like, hey, did you see this? Like, do you know that you've said this online? But Jackie was a favorite guest of the people, a great sport. Would love to have her on again.
Yeah, let's get her back on.
All right, JD, that was our first half pint, our first mini-sode, which is a true full pint. Longer than some of our regular episodes. We failed.
This is just exactly how it is with you and me. We'll go out for one drink and then end up closing the bar. This is how it always happens.
And then you say, oh, God, I got to go. Rachel's going to kill me. I'll have a half pint. All right, listen to this week's show that's coming up, I guess next week's show. It's Ever Maynard, a very, very funny comedian. We talked about sharing your location on your phone with your partner or your friends. We talked about hustle culture. We talked about lighting your lawn on fire and so much more. So listen to that when it comes out. And this was MattyO and JD reaching out from the great beyond. Thanks for coming, JD. We'll see you next week.